welcome to the Geek Cause podcast.
What was that?
I was channeling my inner Rick for recording.
It just kind of sounded like throat cancer.
Exactly.
Oh.
That's exactly what Justin Roiland sounds like. How is everyone doing today on this lovely Friday for you? This next week of the Geek Cause podcast. It's a exciting group of topics that we have today, even more so than usual because there's a lot of new good information on stuff and a lot of questionable things.
A lot of juicy topics.
A lot of juicy, full of meat.
Ooh.
What did I say in the end of the last podcast? I can't remember.
I can't remember. It was something terrible though.
Was it something related to meat? I feel like meat is for some reason.
I don't feel like it wasn't related to meat, but I feel like it was something you shouldn't say was related to meat some reason.
I said something and I don't remember what it was because I black out during the course of the podcast. So in the podcast, I don't actually retain anything that's going on. I just black out and I just start talking to you because it's the only way to get through 2 hours of talking with you. So yeah. I just
always rolling in the back of your head. It's just autopilot.
Turned into a form of talking that is just barely acceptable. How are things for you this week, Kyle?
Things are pretty good for me, Cody.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Pretty good.
Anything interesting? Anything exciting going on in your life?
Just a lot of prepping for work.
Ooh, yeah, that's going good.
Yeah.
That's going good.
Painted the kitchen.
That's not prepping for work.
No.
That's just painting the kitchen.
Painting the kitchen.
Nice.
Yeah.
What color did you paint it?
Kind of like this, grey, dark grey, but not proper grey, kind of bluey. Get me?
Like a blue-gray?
Yeah.
Ah, wow. Why didn't you just say that?
Like a dark bluey grey colour.
Ah, bluey-gray color. Is this the actual, on the paint can, it says, it says a number, a registration number for the color of paint, and then it says dark bluey-gray?
No, I think the name of the colour is a city or something. It starts with a D.
Detroit?
No. I wouldn't want to paint my kitchen, Detroit coloured.
Why? Detroit is great colours. Gray.
Oh, maybe it is Detroit.
That's why it was a city name, because cities are just gray. Delaware,
that's it.
Delaware!
That's the name of
You don't want to paint your city the colors of Detroit, but you'll paint it Delaware?
What's so bad about Delaware?
Exactly. Tell me one fact about Delaware.
Tupperware was made there. Tupperware from Delaware.
That's why you don't want, that's why you want to paint anything Delaware colors.
I think it's a pretty great color. It's a good color.
Yeah, it's probably not Delaware colors then. It's probably something else.
Detroit colors.
Yeah, it's probably Detroit.
Yeah, that's all I've been doing. A lot of giving away personal information for work and then painting kitchens.
Wow, that sounds like probably the best time that you could
Oh
have.
yeah, it's been great. It's exhilarating stuff.
I bet. I'm excited for you.
So am I. What about you? You've been doing anything interesting? Paint any kitchens?
I haven't been painting any kitchens, but
why not?
Have you seen this house? What am I supposed to paint? What wall am I supposed to paint?
No, the house is made of wood. So
exactly.
You should varnish it a different color.
I know a lot of houses are made of wood, so let's just read it right here. This is log cabin style, so it's not that I can't paint wood.
Oh yeah, it's put together like an IKEA flat pack kit. All the pieces just kind of clipped together.
That's probably what it was. No, not even IKEA. It was the off-brand little stuff that you get. That's the similar thing at the table that you get from Little, where it's just you set it together.
Or back in the day, you'd go to the lumber mill and they'd have a catalog that literally has a house in it, and you're I want that one, and they just give you all the individual wood pieces and
put together.
There you go, put it together.
The concrete mix, so you can make the stone slab that it sits on. No, I haven't been doing anything really that exciting. I did a lot of studying. I don't know if I said this last week, but I finished the first part of my little IT course that I'm taking.
Woo.
I'm on the second one, and I'm almost done with that, and that's networking, so that's fun. Really exciting. I have a book full of notes that's, I don't want to show you because I don't feel like turning around to pick it up, but it started with nothing, and now it's I've got 3 pages left. I'm about to be on the next one, and some of the stuff in there is if you looked at it, you'd be and I don't even know why I'm learning it, but it's
is that 90% of all learning though?
Yeah.
You do a course, 10% of it you're okay, I know why I need to know this. The other 90% is, why do I need to know this?
like binary math. You want to know some basic binary math?
Not really.
That's important for networking, so I can figure out how to do subnet math. Here you go. Look at this example. Doesn't that look just like so fun to figure out how to get a subnet?
So entertaining.
Yeah, it's great. It's actually pretty simple once you get into it. I think that's what I figured out with all this is that...
But binary can't be too hard. You literally have to deal with 2 numbers.
Yeah, but those 2 numbers are representative
of everything that ever existed.
Of everything that's ever existed. So it's like you'd think... I thought that too. I was like, oh yeah, just, binary, whatever. Easy.
1s and 0s.
And then you're like, wait a minute. Everything is this.
But 1 represents the philosophy of morals, and O represents the birth of the universe.
Not completely, but you got the right principles there. When you have something that says it's basically 1 is on and
1 is
O is off.
It's actually 1 or the other.
And so then you're literally like
it's yes or no, black or white.
You're adding it together, and then it's like, okay, so I need this computer to start up. It's all just. But it's not. That's not what all of it is. A lot of it is just like learning terminology and like writing it down and stuff that I kind of already know. So
you gotta learn the jargon. You don't have to exactly know what the jargon is used for.
Yeah. When it comes to real world applications, that's exactly it. When it comes to anything studying though and all the quizzes, it's like you have
to know it.
The first course I did, I was like, I was taking a decent amount of notes, but I wasn't writing like everything down because I was like, oh yeah, no, this makes sense. And then all of a sudden I'd get a little quiz with it, and I'm just like. That was never pointed out directly as something that you should know. I just needed to write down more of what this person was saying. Because like all videos, I just didn't write down enough. And I was like I was heavily irritated. So now I write pages on pages. Every video is at least a page long, and I just fucking run with it. But, off of that, no, I've been watching Worlds. League of Legends World Championship is on. I think I said it was starting last week. It was starting up and I was watching that.
Yeah.
But, now it's like officially on. I didn't watch last night, so I'm gonna have to catch up today. But it's really fun. I really enjoy it. Been playing a little bit of League myself with some friends and streaming. Been doing just the same old.
Same old thing.
So I think it's time to get to the amazing amount of topics that we have today, and each one of them is going to have a decent amount of talking to it, Kyle. Especially the first one, because it's a continuation of what we talked about last week, and there's probably going to be a lot that we have to say about it. If you didn't get enough of us talking about the controversy with Blizzard,
oh boy,
last week, and their banning of Blitzchung and the casters from supporting Hong Kong, we have all somehow related, but. Well, we know it's related, but it wasn't actually like stated as such.
Yeah. It's all but been said from the horse's mouth.
Exactly. And that's because Blizzard doesn't want to admit it.
Oh god, no.
But what we're referring to is Blizzard canceled the Overwatch event that they had planned in New York City for the Nintendo Switch's Overwatch release. So it was a Nintendo in New York event that was going on. It was like actually like kind of like a Nintendo event. And what they were going to do is they had this like big, huge launch event for Overwatch. It was going to be like celebrating the game's release onto the platform. They were going to have voice actors that were there that would interact with fans. It was supposed to be like 150 people, I think, or something like that, were able to join in on it and like take a part of it.
Really big event.
And that was just for the people that were like able to participate within the thing. And just a bunch of cool stuff was supposed to be on there. They were going to showcase certain things. It was going to be something that like Nintendo's known for doing, which is cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well,
that should be their slogan. Nintendo, we're known for cool stuff.
Yeah, we're known for doing cool shit. But 2 days before the event was actually going to take place, Nintendo posted, tweeted rather, that Blizzard canceled the event. And they made sure to emphasize that it was Blizzard that canceled it, not them.
Blizzard has cancelled it.
And they apologized for the inconvenience, but it was something that's kind of people automatically picked up.
Yeah, it's like, it didn't need to be said. You know exactly why they're cancelling it. If you're tuned in with the controversy that's been going on, you get the idea.
So this is more theory crafting on our part, but I think it's pretty evident that the reason that this happened is because of the whole thing going on with Blitzchung and the banning of him and the casters and the Hong Kong support, is that there has been so much outrage over the last week and a half.
Oh, ridiculous. Boycott Blizzard was 3rd trending worldwide for a while there.
It was nuts. It's to the point that, hardcore people that have hundreds of thousands of hours invested into the games have shown them canceling it and removing it and not playing their games anymore and saying until we hear something. And what ended up happening is we got a statement recently, right? And this obviously after we recorded last podcast, this statement came out, and I'm just going to kind of cut out the larger bits of what happened. But basically, Blizzard came out with a statement and said, yeah, we banned Blitzchung, and some people might not agree with it, but this is why we did it. We admit that we might have been too harsh, so we're giving... Now, I just want you to keep in mind, at no point did they apologize to anybody during this statement.
Oh yeah, there's no actual apology. They just said, oh, this is what we did, this is why we did it, and this is what we're going to do now.
But they
never actually put their hands up and went, sorry about that, guys.
No, they never apologized. What they said is, we did this we did all of this to have a safe and inclusive environment, and what he did wasn't keeping true to that. Which, okay, I don't understand how that's the case, but yeah. Whatever. They said, they came back and they said, we stick with the ban that we did and all that stuff, but we do think that it was a little harsh, so we're gonna cut it back from a year to 6 months, so that way he can still play into the Grandmasters event, which is, for one, a slap in the face, because that's like saying, listen, we know that we're banning you and that we are going to ban you for longer, but now we're not going to ban you for longer because we actually want you to take part in the next event that goes on, so that way we get views for you being on it. And then they said they said about the casters, they didn't admit any wrongdoing with the casters, what they did. They just said, we're also going to only that they did something wrong by allowing it to happen, by not have it be a fun environment, which is what we're trying to have. So their time is going to be reduced to a 6 months suspension as well. Even though they were never given suspensions, we were told that they were fired.
Yeah, we were told that they were completely axed. Gone.
So what it sounds like is now that they're saying they're not going to be back, but they're not firing them and saying you can never come back. They're putting them on a suspension, and then they might have a chance to come back, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
So after that, they went on to say, now we think that the play fair thing is where we made a mistake, because even though he didn't do something that he didn't follow these set of rules, he did play nice and play fair during the event. So we're not going to take the money away from him. We're going to still give it to him. And it's like
hardcore backpedaling and trying not to admit you'd done something wrong, but trying to fix all the mistakes you made along the way. So
to me, with the whole statement that they released, it was the biggest backpedaling, but without actually backpedaling. It was like they got onto their bike, right, that can only pedal forward, and they're pedaling forward, and instead of hitting the brakes and then being let's just walk backwards, even though it's slower, let's just walk back where we came from and go to the starting point.
They were riding faster.
they were riding their bike, they hit the brakes, and then they started pedaling again. And then every once in a while, they intermittently do that backward spin pedal thing where you're still going forward, but you're so
it looks like they're backpedaling, but they're still going forward.
Going forward, yeah. It's so even though they released a statement and they kind of gave something, it was about as little as they could do after waiting a week to finally release something.
Yeah, they're trying to patch holes in a sinking ship without admitting that their ship is sinking.
I think
it's kind of no, we're not taking on water. I'm just going to put this here to cover this hole. That doesn't mean anything. Not acknowledging that there's a hole.
I think what bothers me is that they didn't even offer an apology for it, and then they're sticking to their guns with 6 months, and they're still having a penalty on the casters that had nothing to actually do. And Blitzchung actually reiterated these feelings. So he did a Q&A with people on his stream, and he came out and gave his opinion on all this. And he pretty much said, I did something wrong. I do deserve some sort of like retribution for it because I did come out and do something when I signed a contract saying I wouldn't do stuff like that. He was like, I admit that. He was like, I think that 6 months is still a long time to have to suffer a penalty, which he's right. He's like, I'm glad they're going to give me the money, but, you know, I'll take that, but it's like, you know, there's still more to it than that. And then he said, I really wish that they would reconsider their penalty on the 2 casters involved because I'm the one that had an influence on that, and that's not fair when I'm the only one. He said he probably won't do he doesn't know if he's going to do the next tournament. But he said at least him having the availability to do it, that's fine. Like he appreciates it. But long story short with him, he pretty much said, I admit where I'm at fault. Like, because people were like, well, what do you think about them not taking a stronger stance against China? And he straight up said, I don't know the full facts of it. I'm not going to say that China's in their pocket. Yeah. I'm not going to say that. He's like, I don't have that information. You don't have that information. And that's that. That is that. Yeah.
He's only working off things that are facts that he can
relevant to him and what he actually has like some sort of evidence for. He said he knew that he was going to get in trouble, so he's fine with. This is the thing. I respect Blizzard sticking to their guns with what they think that maybe that wasn't the proper thing to do on their stream channel. That's time an event where they're supposed to be playing a game. The thing is that I don't like is how harsh they were with their sentence of something that happened that was very, very minor in reality. Yeah. Which makes you think it's because China had something to say. Yeah, they were worried about China.
Yeah, the fact that it's this harsh for something so minor kind of makes you go, oh, the obvious reason why they're doing it is because of China. Whereas if it was something more major, or if the initial punishment was lesser, you wouldn't have thought anything of it. You would have just went, oh, you broke the terms of services. Yeah. Fair enough. But because it was so big and so severe.
So harsh.
And they were so blackout on it, they posted the statement and disabled the comments. It's like they were avoiding the criticism because they knew it was going to be there.
Avoiding the criticism, avoiding the responsibility of taking
the actual issue here.
And so I think we kind of all like understood though that like we understand them doing something. But it's not that. It's the severity of the issue of like how intense they were with it, and the fact that it was hypocritical because they had announced other political like sort of affiliation things on there, with such as, you know, I saw someone make a good post where they tried to say, like someone had tweeted and said that like gay rights, like LGBTQ plus rights aren't political. They're just like they're not like socio-political. They're just something that should happen. But someone made a good point, was like, but the rights of people and them not getting it is something that's socio-political. Yeah. Like, standing up for anything, standing up for anybody's beliefs, no matter what it is socio-political.
Anything that involves beliefs or rights or even just opinion that's it.
It's socio-political. And, you know, if you don't want to take a stance on this because it's not, like, what you want to take a stance on, then fine, Blizzard, we get it. But to never have anything be said to you about what you can and can't do, and then have like, you sign a thing saying, oh, you sign a contract, but within that contract, it has rules that don't specifically outline that you can't be like, so Blitzchung's contract was for something that wasn't explicitly stated the way that they said it, you know what I mean? It didn't say you couldn't have any sort of support for stuff. And like the other thing is that there was a group of U.S. individuals at one of their events that held up signs saying support Hong Kong or something like that. Yeah. And nothing happened to them. The stream like cut that part out, but
they weren't
weren't banned or anything like that. You're seeing like there's a lot of stuff that you had other Hearthstone players like just dropping out from the tournament. There's like 3 or 4 buys from people that just like automatically moved to progress onto the next round because they were like, I'm not doing this event now since what happened. Like, there's been nothing but backlash for what Blizzard has done, and they just releasing this statement that is half-assed and actually does nothing for anybody
it just kind of adds insult to injury at this point for them.
It was just bad. Yeah. It's just bad, and this whole situation's bad, and look at they talked Blizzard talked to Blitzchung and we're like, look, this is what happened. Obviously, he must have said something to him, and he said, blessing to Blizzard, blessing all these players. Hearthstone changed the way I live. I really love this community. Obviously, he doesn't want this to happen, and he doesn't want people to shit on Blizzard, but the thing is that they gotta take their lumps.
Yeah.
And the fact that they continue to refuse to give good information and, like, to actually talk to people about what's going on and to just, like, come out with a statement saying, look it.
Something a bit more sincere and human, not something that you'd expect a email bot to write out to anyone kind of thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, something less corporate.
The thing is like, they even said in there, like, in their statement, the specific views expressed by Blitzchung were not a factor in the decision we made. I want to be clear. Our relationships in China had no influence on our decision. That's a lie.
Yeah. That's a blatant lie.
It's an out-and-out lie. And you know what I would have liked more? I would have liked it better if you would have said, we have a lot of, investors and people in China, and we don't want to offend them with a statement like this coming out, and this is the truth. And now, if you said, obviously, you don't need to, you can still come out and say China didn't tell us we have to do this or they're leaving, but we don't want to, just say we don't want to offend people.
What they could have said was, we didn't want this to be in it because regardless of our personal opinions on the situation, we have many investors in both Hong Kong and China that we don't want to offend or alienate.
And
they could throw out some babble about, we want to be a very connected community, together community, we don't want to separate each other, we want the game to surpass these kind of issues, blah, 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 blah. They could have meant them out to seem like, we're trying to bring about world peace with our game.
Yeah, but instead it was...
any other company would have done.
Instead it was a blatant lie of China had no influence on our...
Yeah.
Okay, that's
a lie.
Went,
China? China who? We don't know any China.
Absolute lie. Complete bullshit lie. And you could have just said, this is the reason. What he said could have hurt that thing, and we want to continue being able to support, like, have these games and stuff. It was just a bad statement that if that statement would have came out in less than 24 hours, would have at least been better, right? Yeah. But the fact that it took so long for them to release such a shitty statement...
If this was, like, their quick response, it would have been perfectly fine. You would have went...
Right. Fine, I don't like it, but I accept it.
Yeah. Fine, but valid.
But having a whole, like, week to be able to figure out what you're gonna do right...
And then coming out with that, it's like you gave it to the intern to do, and he forgot to do it until the night before.
Yeah, that's exactly. And I think someone tweeted that actually and said, like, "Wow, this is literally like the intern." They had the intern write it, and then they came in and said after a week and was like, "Yeah, it's good enough."
Pretty much. I wouldn't put it past them.
I don't know, Blizzard, you're stupid, and now we have a canceled event, and Nintendo. You know why they did it too is because they knew that if they went to the event and all the outrage that happened was there, that Nintendo would get flack for it. And Blizzard didn't want Nintendo to cut deals with them because they got flack.
Yeah, Nintendo don't want the bad rep to be connected to them just because they're associated with Blizzard.
But this is the thing
on the Switch.
This actually was worse because this could have been where they show that they have they're not all about the money. They want to have this event, and then they could kind of talk to people and be like, listen, this is not what we're about. We're not about that. We were about having events like this. We want to have fun. But instead they were like, we're worried that Nintendo will cut ties with us and that we'll lose more money.
Yeah.
So we're just not going to do the event because we don't want to have to go through the struggle of actually explaining ourselves.
Like they could have found, okay, we're going to have this event, and they could have released a statement to the quote-unquote disgruntled fans, they call them whatever they want, and be like, this event is for a celebration of games. This is what it's for.
We have
come to enjoy the games and expect another statement for us after the event on said topic.
Yeah.
Let's say okay, we're going to talk about this afterwards, but for now we really just want to enjoy this.
Yeah. And if you had people protesting or anything like that, fine, just let them do that. That's their right.
Yeah.
But now you're taking away them having the ability to do that. You're taking away Nintendo's... you make Nintendo look stupid for having this whole event plan and inviting people.
Yeah.
And then having that So now you're just... Not only are you doing more damage, but...
You just look dumb now.
You look like an Egypt, is what you look like. And I don't know what's the future of Blizzard's looking like, but if they don't find a way to start turning their time around, or at least showing some support towards people other than the people that are putting money in their pockets, like investors, then they're gonna have that time.
They should just go back to how they used to do things back in the day, when Blizzard just used to make World of Warcraft expansions and nothing else, and no one really cared about what they had to say.
Oh, you mean before they partnered with Activision?
Yeah, pretty much. But speaking of the past, good old Nvidia has said that they're going to bring good old ray tracing, Cody, to many of your classic PC games.
Now, this is interesting to me because it means that they're going out of their way. I feel like this is like one of the ways that like video game developers and stuff like that are like, how can we're starting to run out of ideas for like cool, innovative games. What if we just make older games look way more better?
Yeah.
They look awesome. And I'm not upset about this.
Oh God, no.
But apparently, after with ray tracing, Quake 2 had a ray tracing makeover, and it looked nuts. It looked really well done.
So good.
Now the studio that did that is planning on remastering a bunch of different older games. Now they haven't said what games they're gonna do, but they made like a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's like open, broad statement of,
it's very broad, quite ominous.
One of the next games that we'll be bringing into the ray tracing era is a title that you know and love. All right. Come on, what would you, if you had to guess?
Classic PC game.
What would you, if you had to guess, what did you think that they would, what we all know and love?
There's so many.
There's so many games. It's like such a broad statement to try and say what you all know and love.
Like, we're gonna remaster this game with ray tracing.
RuneScape. RuneScape with ray tracing.
Hell yeah. Just another excuse to play it for, what, a third time now? The original, they released that kind of newer version of it, and then they released the classic.
What's I don't even know what game that they could be talking about that you all know and love.
We all know and love.
A PC game that everybody knows and loves. If you had to take one guess, what would you like to see with the ray trace? How about that?
Like, off the top of my head, if I think, okay, classic PC games people love, my mind instantly goes to Doom and Wolfenstein. But we have new versions of those, so it's not going to be that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. No. I would say Half-Life.
I was going to say Half-Life.
I think Half-Life is what they're going to do. I was
going to say either the...
Even though there's remasters to it, I think they're going to add, like, ray tracing to it.
Yeah. Right? I think they'll... I wouldn't be surprised if they just did, like a ray tracing orange box.
That'd be cool.
Where you get, like, Portal and Half-Life and all these games, but with ray tracing. It'd be pretty cool.
No, we're talking about this because last week we kind of touched on the topic.
Yeah, we're talking about the PlayStation 5 and its ray tracing capabilities.
So it's getting more and more prevalent where like ray tracing is coming into the market of like even with older games now they're starting to redo them with ray tracing enabled. So it's coming more and more prevalent. And obviously this is Nvidia trying to sell you graphics cards, but even they have said that, you'd be crazy not to buy a graphics card without ray tracing.
Yeah.
In 2019, like, because of what's going to happen. The new Call of Duty Modern Warfare is going to support, which might have a topic later on in the podcast as well. But
hang in there for that.
It's supposed to be nuts. So I other than like Half-Life or man,
what else would there be
that like everyone knows and loves on the PC?
I feel like there's something, and I'm missing it. Yeah,
Diablo 2. I want Diablo 2 ray tracing.
You just want Diablo 2 ray tracing?
Yeah, it'd be really good. There's probably something else, but I don't know. What do you guys think? If there's any game that you'd like to see have ray tracing and be kind of like remastered or something to just like have a dynamic lighting effect that makes the game just pop in a way it never did before. What would you want to see?
You know what I'd like?
What?
The guys who made Simpsons Hit and Run said that they like the idea of a remaster isn't ruled out. That they'd totally do it. I'd like to see Simpsons Hit and Run remastered with ray tracing. That would be awesome.
Becca was saying how much she liked playing that game.
Oh, great game.
I never played it.
So many hours into that game.
Well, on for one game that I didn't care about, onto another. Red Dead Redemption 2 PC specs.
You're gonna offend a lot of people with that. From one game you didn't care about to another you don't care about?
You're right. I'm gonna offend a lot of people. The Simpsons Hit and Run was an okay game.
We'll take that.
But Red Dead Redemption 2 PC specs were finally released, and I'm not surprised, really, but it is pretty nuts.
It's some pretty beefy stuff.
So, for the minimum specifications, you're looking at least an i5 processor. Okay, it makes sense. 8 gigs of memory for minimum, which is like, alright, for gaming, you don't really see things go much above 8, so I'll take that,
it's
right?
Pretty average.
And a GTX 770, and then the thing that I think is most, like, out there for people that they're kind of surprised about is 150 gigs of hard drive space.
Like, that is crazy. Then again, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. It's over 90 gigabytes on console already.
Right, but...
So, with graphical improvements and extra content...
That's huge, though. I think the point is like, even 90 gigs for a console game, that's huge, right? Now, imagine, like, not double, but you're looking at 150 gigs.
Almost double.
And then maybe patches making it double. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Or mods or anything else that you add to it.
Like, when you think about, like, updates and stuff like that, when they roll out big updates like the summer one they did, that would be, 12, 13 gigabytes on top of what it already is.
Yeah, 150 gigs is like someone's solid state drive being completely full.
Yeah.
When they put it on there. So if you wanna run this game, like, and have it load as quickly as possible from your solid state drive, you're looking at all of it being just dedicated to this game.
That's it. Just for Red Dead. You need to buy one specifically for Red Dead. You could write Red Dead on it with, like, Sharpie.
A little Sharpie, yeah, and just
carry it around with you in your pocket.
It's pretty nuts. It's pretty nutty. But I think it's not completely unexpected, especially where we're going nowadays with games like the size of them. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a big game.
It's huge. Like, it's the entire map of Red Dead Redemption 1, plus a map of almost equal size that's completely new.
Yeah.
Combined into one map.
With all new, like great graphics and
better graphics,
tons of story.
Animals.
Tons of stuff to do. So, it's a lot different. I mean, you can even look at the recommended specs, though, and the game is requiring a lot, which is not, like I said, it's not that nuts because it's not like GTA 5 wasn't the same way.
Yeah, when GTA 5 came out, it was asking for, okay, the best you can get at the moment, please and thank you.
Yeah, and, i7 4770K, which is a really, really good processor that probably would have to be overclocked to run it, even then. You have a 12 gig of memory recommended, which that is probably the most I've seen for, like, just a video game in a long, long time. And then a GTX 1060. That's a recommended, at least, is that. Which, like I said, it's pretty common to see these type of specifications for recommended nowadays. But it's just, I think what really caught people off guard was just 150. That's bigger than any MMO. It's something that's endless. Huge. You know what I mean? And I think it's just, this is just showing that
the direction we're going.
As we continue on and on into the gaming world, especially on PC, it's gonna be nuts. If you wanna like install a bunch of games, stuff like that, you're gonna need a terabyte minimum for a few games.
Minimum, yeah.
Minimum.
If every game is gonna dance around the 150 to 200 gigabyte mark, it's like, you're gonna need a lot of space.
It's just, I mean, I'm fine with it. The more content, the better.
Oh yeah.
But
I don't have an issue with it, but I'm getting to the point now, like, with my Xbox, the amount of games that I have on it, it's like, okay, maybe I can have, like,
uninstall and
like 19 small games, or 3 big games, and that's it.
Well, because consoles are even more limited. Like,
it's like my Xbox is a terabyte. And it's like, it struggles. I don't think I've been over 100 gigabytes in like half a year. It's like, I was at like 1 gigabyte the other day. I had to clear some stuff out. It's like, oh god.
How do you think I feel about my Switch that I don't even have a micro SD expansion right now for it because I haven't picked one up. I download a game and then I uninstall it when I want to. I think I've uninstalled like
You can only have like one at a time.
Super Smash Bros. Like 4 times because I'm like, I want to play it. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to play it. I want to play it again. But moving on from big hard drive requirements onto and MMOs onto another game.
Good old World of Warcraft.
Except for now we're talking about the classic, which is a little less resource intensive.
Just a tad. I don't think it's up there with Red Dead 2.
No, probably not.
Not quite.
But we had a little bit of an issue, didn't we, there?
We did have an issue with a guild name, if I believe.
Yeah.
So...
It was a little controversial, I guess, to some?
I guess you could say that. So there was this guild in World of Warcraft Classic called Gay Boys.
It's just Gayboys. Gay Boys.
Nothing else there, just that's it. And it's a guild of gay people.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. And one day, when they logged on, they realized that the guild name had been changed to ZFXPK, which is a random series of numbers.
It's a random series of letters that when Blizzard finds a name for something that is they consider bad or offensive, they will just have a random name just
it's
generated.
Just like an automated sensor.
So like you could see people with names and then it's like ZFX.
It's like, oh, you know their name got took away from them.
Yeah.
As well as that, I believe the guild leader was suspended.
Yes, the guild leader got a temporary account suspension as they investigated.
Yeah. So this has caused a little bit of a rustle in the community, if you'd like to call it that, with a lot of people kind of asking the question, why was it took away? Why was the name taken away from them? Why was the leader suspended? If it was a group of gay people anyway. And pretty much they came out and said, oh, you know, the usual spiel about anything. Words that can be, what is the quote?
Yeah, the quote was literally like, it's inappropriate in that you should pick a name that you can identify with without also using words that would elicit a reaction from other players would be far more beneficial for you.
That's what I was looking for.
Because gay elicits something in people.
Yeah, so one of the members of this guild came out and said that if they checked their chat logs, they'd see that they go through a very rigorous recruiting process and that they get like multiple amount of messages of just to put it bluntly, homophobic hate. Yeah,
literally he said that he's at least had several people say F the gays reported, as an example.
Yeah, just reporting the account purely because they're gay. So that's caused them to kind of go, okay, so what is it about it? Is it the word gays? Is it the word boys?
Like, what is it that you find
what's
us
the
being
issue?
disrespectful, but then these people who are shitting on us for being gay, not having anything happen to them, and them just reporting us for it.
It's like, oh, you got rid of the name because you don't want it to be something that would elicit a reaction from other players. It's like what they said, like, oh, well, this would only elicit a reaction from people like that who give them hate.
Yeah, and so
everyone else doesn't really
it,
care, so it would just feed it more.
Yeah, feeding into that means that you're letting them win. They literally, he said, to say there's anything inappropriate about the words gay or boys in of itself is inappropriate, childish, and discriminatory. And he's not wrong. I mean,
he's dead right.
If you had someone, this isn't someone going around, saying like gay as an insult or something and trying to like incite some sort of negative reaction. This is just a guild of, I would assume, at least predominantly gay people.
Boys.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be a little bit sexist here and say it's probably just a lot of gay boys.
Or maybe it could be females as well that are gay.
Probably a few girls in there, but it is World of Warcraft we're talking about here.
Yeah. And it's a lot of what it's doing is just saying like, okay, so now we're not allowed to.
They're saying that there's an issue with it.
Yeah.
When there really shouldn't be an issue with it. And they've kind of realized that because the guild's name has been reinstated.
Yeah, as of, I don't know, like, I think it was, like, it was, like, the same day, but, like, much later in the day.
Yeah, it was, like, later in the day. Like, this happened, like, I don't know, but to say it, like, happened about, like, 1, 2 o'clock, this would have been, like, 11, 12 o'clock.
Yeah, and they had said, Blizzard didn't respond to anybody's questions. They didn't say, like, so this is also, we want to point out, this, after already talking about Blizzard and, like, the shit that they've been doing, This is them doing it again.
Quite literally.
Except for this time, it's in the exact opposite way. They don't want their socio-political stance, even though they've already said that they support gay people, that they're for LGBTQ stuff. But then it got flagged, and then their name was taken away. And then when it was trying to get appealed initially, they were like, no, that's use something better than that.
Yeah.
So as of right now, the guild's original name, Gay Boys, has been reinstated, and the guild master is no longer temporary banned, and he got a half-ass apology saying, sorry that happened. But then went on to say that you might have an automatic takedown of your name or you getting banned again because we can't stop people from reporting you. And they're pretty much admitting that their automated system is shit.
Yeah, they pretty much went, okay, yeah, don't blame you for being bummed out, your name's back, but more than likely this is gonna happen again, guys.
Yeah, and so
nothing we can really do about it. Or even if there is anything we can really do about it, we're not really gonna do anything about it.
So just if you expect it, literally they said if it happens again, you just have to appeal it again and we'll review it.
Just do it all over again.
It's a great.
They should just have a permanent ticket on like that guild's account and just be like whenever their name gets suspended, just put it back.
I think the reason why also that it's like such an issue is just the simple fact of who cares?
Yeah.
It's not like their name is like even like a derogatory slur.
It's not like you'd be running around World of Warcraft and you'd see just gay boys pop across your screen for half a second and the hordes of people in your game. And then you'd be like, oh my god! What? Throwing your laptop out the window.
It's to me, it's like I said, it's not, they're looking at it as if they're using like a slur, like the N-word, or like even like a derogatory slur for like gay people.
Yeah.
Like, so they're not, it's not like they're running around with, FAG boys or something going on there.
Like that would be different.
It's literally just gay boys, which is being, if it was straight boys, would their name been banned?
Oh,
that's what I want to know.
Question, yeah.
Would the guild name have been banned?
Probably not.
If in the guild info it said we only recruit straight people, I'm sure there's a guild out there called White Power.
Then they probably would have, because that would have been quite controversial.
No,
I feel like a lot of people would report that just out of.
But the thing is
out of spite, because I think that there's enough on either side of the Cunies to kind of go to war, kind of like Helm's Deep style.
the thing is though is like that's like a guild, that's its own internal guild thing. You can't there's nothing you can do about that.
I suppose so. Yeah, you have your own criteria.
Like if Gay Boys is predominantly gay, like I mean, there's nothing. It's your own. If you want to be exclusive in your own right to something like that, that's fine. And if you have people that don't like it, then you have to suffer the backlash. But that doesn't mean that you can't have that.
That's true. Now that you mentioned,
and if they're not going around being
sense.
hateful,
yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just saying like only straight people. Just like I've seen a guild that I was on it, and they only recruited people that were 40 into the guild plus. It was mature guild only. They wouldn't recruit anybody younger. And they even said that we'll if we question, we might ask for proof of ID or something like that to see your age. And I'm like, I just remember thinking, I think I was streaming at the time, and I was just like, who would for one want to join a guild where the only people in there could be 40 and you have to like prove your identity just to get in there because you refuse to have anybody except for 40 plus year olds.
Yeah.
Like, it just sounds like such a hassle.
It's like the effort.
But it's, long story short, Blizzard, stop fucking up. What are you doing?
Just stop, Blizzard. I like to believe that this isn't really you, Blizzard. I like to believe that Activision is poisoning your mind, that you're being turned to the dark side. But there's good still inside. You just have to pull away from the parasite. Just pull away.
I mean, one would hope.
And you'll be safe again.
One would hope, but, who knows? I mean, and Activision is pretty poisoning, especially considering this other bit of information that we had come out.
So, yeah. That was a good segue, Cody. Good job. So, Call of Duty Modern
Warfare. I love how you always ruin my segues.
I know, I do it on purpose. And it's like, it's actually a good segue. I'll point out just to annoy him. But yeah, Call of Duty Modern Warfare launches
the new one.
The new one.
The 2019
the
game.
2019 one.
Fucking stupid naming.
Launches sometime in the next 2 weeks, I believe.
Yes. It's by the end of October it comes out.
So, as you may remember, back in the beta, some people realized on one of the post-match screens that there was a little option for where your loot crate would pop up, or your quote-unquote supply drop, which is just a loot crate.
Right, exactly.
So people were just assuming, the loot crate system for World War II is going to be in this as well as the Black Ops games. And a lot of people were pretty angry about it. Obviously, But I believe it was one of the lead art directors at Infinity Ward.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Joel M. Sly
came out and said that they had nothing in works at the moment for loot boxes.
No, they didn't. They didn't say nothing in works. They said, well, they did say not working on any kind of split drive, but they basically said that there's it's not in the plan for Modern Warfare right now.
Yeah, but they're not doing it, and functional stuff is only unlocked through gameplay.
Yeah.
Gameplay in capitals.
What I can say literally what it was is, what I can say right now is that we are definitely not working on any kind of supply drop or loot box system. Even though someone saw it in your game, allegedly, I guess. Allegedly, multiple people saw that there's an option that you could get in the game, and they looked at some sort of source code, and they saw that there's a potential for it to be in there. But no, they don't plan on putting it in. They said it's all locked through gameplay, and that's like, people are misinformed, and it's incorrect info.
Yeah.
So I want to say that I think that this is bullshit.
I think it is and isn't.
Well, I think it's bullshit in the sense that I think that they probably did plan at some point to have a loot box system in there.
Oh, probably.
But they might have gotten rid of it when they realized that it got a sudden backlash, and that they're either going to implement it later or potentially not at all if they can make enough money on it.
Yeah, so they were probably going to launch it with loot boxes. People got angry. They're okay, pull it. And right now they're probably doing a Black Ops 4 on it, because Black Ops 4 didn't launch with loot boxes.
No, it was released later and people were pissed.
And it came out a good time later afterwards in one of the updates. So I'd say probably at the moment they're like, okay, let's watch how, see how this goes. If it goes okay, we'll just kind of sneak them in there while no one's looking. You're like, release 5 new maps and some new camos and loot boxes. Hopefully people don't notice the loot boxes.
The thing is I think everyone has to remember, is like, you can try to give Infinity Ward and Activision benefit of the doubt, but they literally, like, saying that there's nothing in the works right now is not a promise that they don't plan on adding it, and at no point have they ever made a commitment or promise saying that they weren't going to add it.
Yeah, you should really pay attention to the words at the moment,
and really pay attention to what they've said about it and what questions that they've answered, because if they haven't answered saying we definitely are not promised not to add any loot boxes in, that's a lot different than we have nothing planned right now for loot boxes.
Yeah.
We have nothing planned for loot boxes. No loot boxes are planned. That is just a way to cop out of saying, of not saying, we promise that there's never going to be any loot boxes. You have our word.
And you can kind of see that they probably are planning to do it with them saying all functional items are unlocked through gameplay.
Yeah.
It's like, what about cosmetics?
Yeah, what about cosmetics?
Weapon charms, weapon skins, characters, because you can get different characters now. It's like,
why not?
We're on to you.
Why not? This is what I don't understand. Why people haven't done this? How come they haven't released the ability to maybe have some loot boxes in it for people that like loot boxes for cosmetics, but then also have it how it used to be, where you could just pay $1 and get a cosmetic?
Yeah.
Have both. How come no one's thought of that yet? That's a way to alleviate everything, because then people can go, well, I'll just buy the skin. But the people that are like, oh, I love loot boxes, they can be like, I'll just unlock loot boxes and see if I can get something.
Yeah. They could even be like, even if they want to be a little bit scummy
That's what League of Legends does.
Yeah. They could be a little bit scummy about it and be like, okay, so say one loot box costs, $1, technically.
Yeah.
But you'd have to buy your currency, but it would add up to, say, your $5 one will get you 5 loot boxes. But then you could like, okay, so $1 per loot box, but if you want this specific skin, you pay $2.
Yeah.
So make the individual thing a little bit more expensive than an individual loot box.
But at least that's like, you have
the option's still
actual chance to get it straight up.
Exactly.
That's what I just don't understand. Like, that's exactly how it is in League of Legends. If you get if you buy a skin, right? Usually the skins are pretty pricey, but if you buy a skin, for $5, then you can get it. But also, for every level up in rewards, you get this thing that you can unlock, and it's like a loot box mechanic where you unlock these things, it's called a Hex Tech chest, and you get keys for it as well if you do good. And you can unlock it, and then you have a chance to get a skin that you can craft, or get like a champion for cheaper and stuff like that. So it has both in there, and so people really don't freak out that much about when League of Legends add that, because you could always buy a champion or a skin and not have to...
It wasn't locking it behind the loot box.
No.
It's like, if you want this, just go buy it.
Yes.
But you can also get it through a loot box by chance.
Yeah, and you can get it for free, or you could pay for loot boxes if you like the loot box mechanic, because some people just like the gambling mechanic, and you have a chance of getting something that may be better value for what you spend. And it makes sense. So, like, if League of Legends and Riot can do it, then surely other people can figure it out.
Yeah.
But on the topic of League of Legends and Riot...
Oh boy.
A big ol' fat topic.
A big boy topic.
So Riot had their 10-year anniversary celebration of League of Legends. Technically, League of Legends was released on like the 25th of October, but they're celebrating it the 15th is when they had this 10-year celebration.
This would probably be their 10-year anniversary. So it would have been
that's probably when they
October 15th-ish.
When they said, we're going to be Riot Games and we're going to release League soon.
Yeah.
It's probably what they're
because they probably sat down on October 15th 10 years ago and went, okay, in 10 days we're releasing this game. And like, we're actually doing this. So to them, it was probably their anniversary.
So that, or they didn't want to wait until the
Yeah, or they're like, end of the month.
Doesn't matter.
It's too close to Halloween. We're supposed to have a Halloween event. It's a bit too close.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. But long story short, they had a 10-year anniversary celebration stream where they went through and talked about the stuff that went on in League of Legends and Riot and what's in the works.
It was an hour long. 1 hour. It was under an hour. It was 48 minutes.
But a lot of good information in all this that I think everyone, even people that aren't excited, like that they don't necessarily like League itself, have a reason to be excited about this.
Oh, yeah.
So, Kyle, why don't you just go through and just like quickly go over what was announced that they came out with, and then we'll go a little bit more in depth with each one that we see fit.
Okay, so you could start off small. They announced that League of Legends and I was called like Team Strike Back or something like that.
Team Fight Tactics.
That's it. Yeah, close enough. Is coming to mobile and console.
Yeah, and they're
updating the UI. They're pretty much building the games for these platforms.
Yeah, the Team Fight Tactics is like compatible platformed with it, and then the League version of the mobile and console version. That is actually it's going to be its own standalone thing, so it's not going to transfer like 1-to-1 over, but it's the same game with small differences because it was created for mobile itself.
Yeah.
So think of like if you ever played Arena of Valor, or there's like another game that's out. It's just gonna be a mobile version of League, like everything about League that you like, but put into a version that can be played on mobile.
Yeah, that it can actually work. It's like playing League on your computer. You have your bar at the bottom.
Yeah.
You don't really have that on.
No, it's
on console because you don't have that many buttons.
Exactly. Like it's like different UI things. They even like the artwork is a little bit more cartoony, I think, to just kind of like fit like a certain theme that they had going on. But it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, which I'm pretty excited for because I played Smite a lot on both PC and console, and I quite enjoy playing on console. It was quite it's nice, to have a nice casual game, and I really enjoyed playing League. So being able to hop back on that again on console would be pretty cool.
A little bit more casual crowd at PS2 as well, and actually, Becca, my wife, is very excited about that. She's like super excited.
You don't have to deal with the super competitive people
and the super toxic people because you're playing it on a phone, and if people are gonna complain, well then F them.
Exactly. So that was probably the smallest thing.
Well, the smallest thing was they're talking about the preseason stuff that's going on for the next season of League, which I'll talk about for real quick. I'll mention since you're not super familiar with the stuff, but I'll talk about it for the people that are into the League information. They're reworking how dragons work. It's just called the elemental season. So dragons, there's different types of dragons in the game, and they're going to be.
Are they bodybuilders?
No, unfortunately not.
Damn it.
But they're going to be buffed, and so they're
they're going to be buffed. It's close enough.
And reworked, where their stuff is a little bit more interesting. So like it'll affect the actual game more instead of just to being like, oh, you're a little bit stronger. So like right now, it's like if you kill an Infernal Drake, you have flat stat buffs to like poke damage and stuff like that. If you get a Mountain Drake, you have faster damage towards like turrets and objectives. So how it's going to be now is like, for one, the jungles, while also having a slight difference inside of them, if you get a certain type of dragon, it'll affect the whole play field. So let's say you get an elemental, the fire drake, the inferno drake. That will burn off some of the pathways in the jungle, making it so there's more openings to travel through within your jungle. And it actually burns it. You can see the effect. So it actually
changes how the game will have to be played.
If you get the mountain, it actually will just change up the structures, so it'll add new walls in different places, so there's less places that you can go.
That's cool.
I don't know if they said what the wind drake will add wind tunnels. So you actually, if you get a wind drake, you'll have little tunnels in your jungle that will make you go faster, so you can get to certain points faster. If your team gets it, you can clear your jungle faster and you can gank faster.
That's pretty cool for the competitive players who have gotten to the point in the game where it's they know exactly where they have to go around the map. It's just a reflex.
Exactly.
It's adding this layer of almost
and that's
unexpectedness to each game where you don't know what you're going to get.
Each game is different now. Even if you had two teams and they had the exact same team comp, if you guys were able to take the dragon instead of the other team, you just changed how the game's battlefield is, more than likely in your favor.
Yeah, it forces you have to adapt as you play rather than having your stuff set up before the game even starts. Which is pretty dope.
I don't know what Ocean Drake does. I can't remember what it does. I think Ocean makes it so more bushes and stuff go into the field, so there's more places to hide.
I was gonna say it makes rap music on a boat.
No. It definitely buffs the amount of shrubs and stuff like that, so that way there's more places to hide and more places to deal with stuff. Oh, and it there's these things called honey fruit that heal you up when you break them. It adds more of those for your team, so you have more stuff to get heals and stuff. It's basically it overgrowths everything. Also, top and bottom lane used to just be these straight kind of bendy lines. Yeah. They're adding a backwards I don't know how to say a little cove that you can go behind that has you hidden from view to set up different types of ganks, different types of playstyles. So it may never be used when I'm thinking about it. I'm it could never be used, but at the same time, that could be a spot where if someone's coming around or they think that someone backed, but they actually went behind there, now you have to ward that area because someone could be sitting there waiting for a gank when you weren't there. TP back there when no one's paying attention, and then just sit there and wait, and then someone pushes up too far, boop, one comes around this way, the other one comes around the front side.
Got him.
And you got him. So they're changing how that stuff is, and there's a couple other stuff that they plan on doing with it, but it's a really interesting season, and that season's going to translate into teamfight tactics where there is an elemental season, and they're going to start adding seasons to teamfight tactics, which it didn't have before. So now it's going to have, for each season, they're going to actually change up the champion pool that's there. They're going to change up the buffs that are available for people. So the team compositions are going to change.
Actually mix it up.
Yes. So things are looking really interesting on the front of just what they've already have out there.
And it gets even better.
Because now they're going into stuff that's not already out there. So you already have mobile and console version of League of Legends and teamfight tactics. Now you're coming to things of, well, that's the pinnacle, right? That's all they could have. They're definitely not. Surely Riot Games isn't going to come up with anything else. Sure. Riot Games, they're more like Riot Game because they only have one game.
Yeah, it's surely they're not going to expand into 3 more genres of games at once, right?
Right?
Wrong! So we're getting a card game.
Which they even admitted themselves. They memed it out before anybody else could. They were like, oh great, another card game coming into the works.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, it's a card game, but it's also, looking at the gameplay of it.
It's a card game, but it's our card game.
Looking at the gameplay of it, it's a really weird looking card game. It looks intricate as fuck. Yeah. And it revolves around certain champions that you play with. They create cards that you have. It's really, really weird. Yeah. I have to see more of a gameplay. Very
intriguing.
There's some gameplay that I think just came out literally before we started doing the podcast.
Oh, really?
That I'm gonna probably check out and see how it is, because they released a little for certain people you can have a chance to get in and you can play it for the next 5 days.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So that's cool. But yes, there's a cool card game that's out, and so there's another game that people like, because let's be honest, if you like teamfight tactics and League, you might actually like card games
more than likely.
So
if you play those games, you probably play Hearthstone.
Yeah, you have like some sort of and with Blizzard shitting the bed constantly,
exactly.
It's nice to see while Blizzard shits the bed, and they were the ones that used to make a bunch of stuff. Now you have Riot making a bunch of stuff and not shitting the bed as much,
making even more stuff.
They had some issues in the past, sexual misconduct related to genders, but they've been overall
since then.
Good
it's been pretty good. But yeah, card game. As well as a first-person shooter strategy.
A tactical
I was going to call it a strategic first-person shooter.
Which you're not wrong. A tactical first-person shooter.
Same thing.
That have characters, so I'm assuming like class, so like specific abilities that you can get.
Yeah, kind of like, it's a character from Overwatch, but with the tactics of CSGO.
So like, it's not like, and I thought I was watching, I was like, this is super cool, because Overwatch is cool, right? Don't get me wrong.
It is cool. Once again, Blizzard.
But it's so like fast paced. There's no part that's tactical about it as much it is like who push buttons faster almost.
Yeah.
Where it has its tactics. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's more of like a
who gets there first.
Where this is strategy in it, and like watching the gameplay, like it's so much.
It's like a game of League of Legends, but in a first-person shooter.
Imagine CSGO, except for you have characters in it, right? Yeah. It's like if you took Apex Legends and made it not a shitty Battle Royale game.
Hey, Apex is pretty good.
Yes, but it's still a Battle Royale game.
It is a Battle Royale game, yeah.
So, and so this is a way of finally someone's like, let's not do a Battle Royale, let's have a tactics-based thing, but with these cool things. So, like, for example, from the gameplay that we got, a person, one person's character was able to put up a dome of smoke, right? Of green smoke.
Dome.
That surrounded the person so that they couldn't see out of it. So they were kind of like trapped in it. And then they put up a wall blocking off the other door entrance into the room that they were in. The dome, they took the dome off of the person that was like, they was covering. They killed that person. Then they came around and sat and waited by the wall of green smoke. And someone's like, just like they were waiting to see if someone would come through. Someone couldn't see, so they're like, well, I'll just poke my head through to see if there's anything on the other side of the smoke wall. And the minute they poked their head through, they got killed.
Bam.
Another thing is someone like was able to jump into the air and they had like shurikens and they were able to just like fucking headshot somebody with them.
It looks really cool.
It looks tactical, but also just fun. Like not just guns.
It looks like one of those games that you won't kill yourself trying to play. Like if you try to jump into CSGO now, and it's the first time you've played it, you're going to struggle for a long time until you get a hang of it.
I mean, I've played a fair bit of CSGO. It's
whereas now with this, it kind of looks like it just looks like a fun game.
It looks like even if you
like you can take
aren't
it seriously.
Doing good, even if you aren't doing good, you'll have fun.
Yeah, which is important.
So yes, we're getting a tactical first person shooter that's in the works. We're not going to see any major things to that until about 2020. I think they said.
Yeah, which isn't surprising because they have even more stuff,
such as
an RPG.
It's kind of like an adventure sort of game.
Yeah,
they didn't talk much about it.
I'm pretty sure they just said an RPG adventure. Yeah, that's what I see people referring to it as.
They didn't say much about that, so there's not a lot to say about that. But it looked like, so if you're familiar with the characters, there was Blitzchung there walking around, punching the shit out of minions in like a sort of. It looked like kind of like Diablo-esque, sort of like isometric top down, like going and killing mobs of enemies inside the world of League of Legends, Runeterra. So. It looked interesting, but then to top it all off, they were like, we also, when it comes to esports, we're gonna invest more into that. So not only do you have, 3 new genres, 4 if you count, 4 if you count TFT being a little bit more, or the mobile game being its own.
Yeah.
But you have tactical first-person shooter, you have a card game, you have an adventure game. You have the mobile game, and then you have the esports stuff going on.
Yeah.
Which they're going to expand like the pro view of things that people do. They're going to expand what you can do and how you can interact with like the pro players' builds, how they get to their rank, switch up certain things, probably look at more information related to the plays that they've done and stuff like that. And it just looks really cool.
What it kind of seems like they're doing, it's like there's websites and apps you can get for like American football or soccer, where you can go on, you can look at like really individual stuff, and you click a certain player, you can get all their stats and look at like snippets of past plays of like good ones and bad ones, and
see their
you got their family history.
see their kill, death, and assist ratio. See their how much gold they have at a certain time.
The next time that they're going to be playing, the last time that they played.
I wouldn't even be surprised if they put like little mini bets or something that you could put in there
Probably.
for games, because there's already betting websites.
So they're pretty much gonna make it into how like sports is in every other aspect, where it's very much the viewers need to be invested as possible. So like you'll go from having fantasy football teams to fantasy League of Legends teams.
Pretty much what's going on is not only are they making a bunch of games in specific genres, but that are different, they're becoming Riot Games instead of Riot Game.
Yeah.
And but they also are gonna, instead of backing down on what the esports already are like,
they're gonna double down.
They're gonna double down, and they're gonna be like, no, this is sports. This is what sports are now.
And that's all they've really announced on the game front. But there is one last thing they also announced.
One last thing that I think people will find it very interesting.
That they're going to have an animated show.
Now, I thought it was going to be a movie at first when I saw it. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was going to be like a nice, cool movie that we're going to get. Instead, it's going to be an animated series.
Which I think would be even better for them.
I think it's still really cool. Now, looking at it, it looks like it takes place in the world of League of Legends. Like I said, Runeterra. And it's either going to, I would say it's either going to coincide with the release of, like a new character that we see, because they're talking about how it's how legends are born, or it's going to be a, kind of a sort of beginning to certain characters in League of Legends worlds. Like,
so you're kind of get like a bit of backstory to,
because none of the characters that you saw, like, were League of Legends characters, except for like, two. I think it was Jinx, and I think there's one more, and I can't remember who it was. But Jinx looks like she's definitely going to be in it, which is one of the characters from it. But other than that, like, I didn't see anybody else. They were all just, like, own characters, their own stories, probably something coming up. And it's called something like the, like Runic Echoes or something. The anime is called...
It'd be cool if they did, like, if it was like an anthology series. Or instead of having...
Arcane,
that was it.
It's called Arcane, yeah. Sorry, go on.
Instead of having like an overarching story throughout a season, they could do it like, okay, so this episode we're going to follow this character, and this is going to be their story from A to B. And then we're going to follow this character from A to B, and do that for a season, and then have a last episode, like the Christmas episode of Black Mirror, where they kind of went, okay, a lot of these worlds are actually connected.
See, it looked,
and then have all these episodes merged together.
Well, it looked awesome, and I know that they have like big, like they already have comics and books and all this other stuff related to like tying everything together, and that would be actually a really cool idea. But it doesn't look like that's what we're getting from it. It looks like we're getting like a whole new swath of sort of characters, like or like a specific character that you saw a lot is going to be like the main focus. Yeah. And since it's called Arcane, I'm almost wondering if this is the reintroduction to, because how League of Legends is apparently Arcane, I think it's like Arcane magics were out of the world for a while, and then all of a sudden, like, because it was tearing the world apart.
Right.
And then it was reintroduced, and that's how League of Legends was created, because the only way to contain all these people fighting, like all these like little characters, and stop it from destroying the world, was to put them into an arena that they can fight in, that like they can battle eternally themselves. And like, there's a reason why everyone's called summoners, is because you are a summoner in the game, and you summon these characters to fight them out, to like reduce the amount of effects they have on the world.
That's why it's called Summoner's Rift.
Yes. It's a rift in the world.
Yeah,
that
like a literal rift.
On. So I think it's going to focus on like either a new character, or maybe like the summoners, or maybe it's going to be this person like summoning these characters, or how arcane magics were reintroduced into the world, because
maybe it'll just be like their world set up. Or like they have books and comics and stuff like that, but this series will pretty much be, okay,
how it came about.
Here's the lore. This is the backstory.
Like this is the world and what it was like, and then because the only character that we saw was someone that doesn't have any influence on like with needing arcane.
Yeah.
Jinx is just like an 80. She's just like, she was a criminal.
Yeah.
In a certain area. So like her influence on anything has nothing to do with like the arcane aspect. So like she could be something related to it. You know what I mean?
Very easily put in. Either way, I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be interesting.
Riot Games announcing more than any other company ever has in an hour.
It's just going to show you that they are trying to do something. You know what I mean? Like they're finally starting to listen to fans.
Like 10 years later, they realized, right, it's time to move on from this one thing. To expand.
Yeah, they put a lot of stuff out there. You know, in general, they've done a lot in the game, but they pretty much have been like, for the last few years, we have been working on other stuff, but we want it to be as good as what League became.
Yeah, I don't think they want to really put anything out there and have it be a flop. I think anything
there's no point.
They would want to put something out there and have that critical acclaim that League had.
Because the only thing that'll happen is if they put something out there, just because they want to put more stuff out there for more people to play to make money, the worse they'll do. If you've noticed, everything that they've put out has already had established and a stable like sort of thing. Anyways, Teamfight Tactics is just the Dota like mod and like the I can't remember what the name of the auto chess. It's just an auto chess, and they knew that it was going to be fine. So when they released it, they were like, "This will be fine, right?" This card game that they've been working on for a while, they knew card games were going to be fine, but they even said we weren't going to like give any more information further on it until we knew it was going to be great. The first like this tactical first person shooter would have had no idea, but it's because they're like, we're not going to release it if it's going to, like, we're not going to talk about it if it's going to be shit. If we work on this for 3 years and it sucks, then we're just going to throw it away and no one will know about it.
Pretend it didn't happen.
And I bet you there's other games that they did that with.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Without a doubt. It seems like they're really taking the same route as like CD Projekt Red, with the sense that they only want to release stuff they know is going to be good.
And you know, you can give Riot a lot of shit for a lot of things, but like the thing is like, when it comes down to it, they do try. The game, toxic as hell, right? But that's a player-based thing.
That's not their fault.
And there's only so much you can do, and then when you do stuff against it, and you have people, like, say, all he said was a racist remark, and then you're like, oh, great, well, now, like, you have people defending him because people
it just makes it worse.
That's people, right? But when it comes down to, like, the big things, like, when it came to, just as an example, if we're gonna compare and contrast, Blizzard and Riot real quick, one last time. After the whole Blitzchung thing, Worlds was starting, right? And they were like, they came out before anything happened, and they released a statement, and they said, now, we are all for, you know, the freedom of speech and stuff like that. They're like, but we are focused on Worlds being about gaming first. And they came right out because they wanted to do this ahead of time before anything else. I still think there was flaws with what they did, but they came out before they had an issue instead of after. And they said, we believe that this should be about Worlds first and foremost. During these streams, we don't want this to be focused on anything else because that's not what this is about. This is about League of Legends Worlds. Now, they said, we talked to all of the casters, we talked to the players, and we said to them, listen, we know what your feelings might be on certain things, but we want this to be about Worlds, so please keep it to Worlds. And that's that. So they went ahead of time and said, let's not bring up the Hong Kong situation. They even said something along the line. I don't know if they gave their support to Hong Kong, but they definitely said something along the lines of like, we know what's going on with it, with the stuff there.
It was kind of like without saying that, like, we get it. It was more so, we all know the current situation in Hong Kong, and then I'll wink at the camera.
Well, and the thing is, like they said, we know the current. You know, it was a text statement, but they said like, we know the current situation. We want to keep this focused on this. Now, you could say, oh, you know, they didn't show their support, do whatever. I mean, they are owned by Tencent, which is a Chinese company. Okay,
yeah.
So fair enough. But instead of waiting for the backlash or straight up saying, don't talk about this or we'll ban you, they just said, this is what we did. We're being upfront and honest with you now, so that way it doesn't happen, and we're letting everybody know. Instead of being like, oh, this happened.
Yeah, that way if something does happen and they do have to punish someone for doing something, they don't seem like complete dickheads for doing it, because, like, we told you all ahead of time. Well, we made it crystal clear ahead of time. Yeah, we told you all ahead of time. We said we wanted to be about this, and you didn't follow through the thing. But the thing is also, League is notorious for when they have people like talking about like stuff and like not like supporting decisions that they make, they will overturn it. You know, I mean, look at Tyler 1. Oh, I love him.
who was banned forever.
Yeah.
From League of Legends because he was the most toxic player in the game.
Oh, he's so toxic.
And there's enough support saying yes, he was toxic, but just crack down on the toxicity and make sure he follows it and just let him play again.
Yeah.
And they'd let him play again. They'd let him do it again. And so it's one of those things where I think they handled the situation better, and Blizzard needs to take it.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to games, they're releasing all these games, they're doing all this stuff, they're having all this competitive esports league. Whereas even with, when you look at how Blizzard did it, they had over Overwatch, when they tried to make that competitive, it was they just threw money into the competitive scene and said, this is competitive.
Yeah.
We swear.
It's it totally is, guys. Please play our game.
And then they stopped funding it and stopped having the competitive. I mean, they were playing it competitively where every week though there was a competitive tournament going on.
They tried.
It made no sense. But anyways, yes, they're actually trying to release something that's good. Like you said, like CD Projekt Red does with their games. They'd rather hold off and wait until something good comes out.
Exactly.
Right?
Like The Witcher 3, which came out how long ago now? When Witcher 3 come out?
3 years ago? 3 years ago, isn't it?
17.
No, it's 2 years then. Almost 3 years, I think.
Yeah. About 2017. It was released. Great game. Pretty game.
Gorgeous.
But the other day, The Witcher 3 was released on the Switch.
Finally dropped on the Switch.
Finally. We knew it was coming, but it's finally dropped. People have played it, and they have their opinions. And they're all pretty good.
So, everyone was kind of disgusted, actually. If you the initial reaction was, there's no way that's going to work good on this.
Yeah.
There's no way it's going to look good. There's no way it's going to work right. There's no way.
Witcher 3 and a portable thing, it just couldn't work.
And then you had the people that were then you had the other side that were oh, it's going to work because it's portable and everything portable Switch works is amazing. So they just they blindly said it was going to be good.
Yeah.
And then you had people like me and you, more than likely, that were sitting back and were I think it'll be good, but I'm thinking it's going to be good because I think a lot of attention's going to be put into it.
Yeah.
Not because it's just a portable version
it's not just going to be a quick port over. Some work's actually going to be put into it, so it's going to be interesting to see. And we have seen. And obviously there's graphical downgrades.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of blur.
Yeah.
To kind of blur the lines.
A lot more blurs, probably just to help the game. A little bit more blur here and there to
smooth out the game so it's not jagged.
Yeah.
To make it so it looks a little bit better with that.
But in doing that, makes it look better. There's some obviously lighting differences and things like that, but apparently it's still absolutely gorgeous. It apparently plays really well.
They did really good with the lighting, apparently. Somehow, even though it's using just a souped up Android tablet processor, it looks good. It doesn't look like the best thing ever, but it looks good and it still feels alive and it still feels like Witcher according to what's coming out about it. And looking at screenshots and GIFs, it really does not look that bad for a Switch game. It looks like I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then to top it all off, the best part, it runs well.
Apparently it runs like a dream, weirdly well.
Because it has dynamic resolution scaling. So that means that if it notices that it's about to go into somewhere where it's going to be a little bit more resource intensive, it'll automatically lower the resolution and bring it down a bit to make it so the frame rate is stable.
Which is awesome. So very clever thing to do.
Yeah, even if whether it's a battle or running or anything like that or sitting inside of a village, it's all stable. They said other than some of the scripted cutscenes being a little bit laggy, which, I mean, fair enough. The scripted cutscenes they probably made sure looked a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then an odd stutter here and there, but I mean that you can say that happened in any of the game
happens on the console version and the PC version.
But apparently it performs really well in handheld mode as well. And it works exactly how you would want a portable Witcher 3 to work.
So it seems like CD Projekt Red, once again, not sacrificing the quality of their games and just making it work.
I think this is what people forget is that when it comes to a developer like that, they wouldn't
do it if they knew they couldn't do it the way it should be.
If they knew the game was going to come out looking like stick figures, they would have made sure that the game was at least the best stick figure game that you could have played.
It's like, okay, it's going to be 2D stick figures. But by God, this 2D stick figure game is going to win Game of the Year.
So yes, you were playing Witcher 3 in a 3D universe and it looked amazing. Well, now we downgraded it, but we promise you that this is going to be exactly what you want still. Yeah. And they did that.
You're going to get the same experience. You're going to feel the same emotions, have the same fun, only be able to do it on the go.
And so the people that are like, have never played it before are going to be able to play that version and still feel blown away by it.
Yeah.
And then the people that, have already played, they're going to be able to be like, I can be portable now. So now I can shit and play this game at the same time.
Exactly.
And really, that's all anybody wants, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I just want to play Witcher 3 on the toilet.
Speaking about toilets, Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 1 is out now. I'm just kidding. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke, I swear.
It's not a joke.
But in case you didn't know, which I don't know how you didn't, because the whole world was set on fire for a little
bit.
Fortnite ended with a black hole eating the entire universe.
Yeah. And the game just kind of turned itself off.
And didn't work for 2 days. You had people breaking their TVs. You had people crying.
Like, it was anarchy.
It was like a nuke went off in one of the major cities in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And 2 days later, came back, playable, and a launch trailer came out, and it's just Fortnite Chapter 2. And guess what?
They're taking notes off the John Wick writers. Instead of just naming it Fortnite 2, they're calling it Chapter 2.
Chapters make it sound better.
Yeah, so it's going to be Chapter 2 Season 1.
Yeah, so it's pretty much what it is. It's Fortnite, but on a whole new map. And to be honest, the map looks like amazing. It looks like really fun.
It does actually look kind of cool.
It looks gorgeous. A lot of water that you have to play off of because there's boats and stuff. So the amount of water on the map is going to have to be used. Like, it's like literally rivers, it's like lakes. It's water based.
It's like it's a new way to transverse the world.
Yes, traverse.
Yes.
But apparently there's
It's not an angle.
Transverse. Probably. I don't know. Isosceles. Anyways,
I'm pretty sure that's something.
There's fishing, and apparently the fishing can net you weapons. So you have a chance to get additional weapons if you go fishing in the middle of your...
If I go fishing and there's not a chance that I pull a boot out, I won't touch it.
In the middle of a Fortnite game. Just imagine you got a battle royale and people are just fishing.
The circle's closing in. You and two guys fishing beside each other who can get a weapon first.
I think that's the stupidest thing that they could introduce, but whatever.
But it's stupid, but it works for Fortnite.
But there's swimming, you have boats, apparently teamwork is even more of a thing. Like, before it was like you did your own thing, but apparently teamwork is like way bigger because you can pick up your fallen comrades onto your back and run to somewhere safe so you can revive them. You don't have to sit there right there and just like risk your life.
Which is something other battle royale games should totally do. Like, I play quite a bit of PUBG.
Yeah.
And it's like, if my mate went down, if I could just run over and pick him up and run away with him, that would be so handy.
But there's apparently going to be that, but also like we saw, there was a healing bazooka in the trailer, but I think that means that there's going to be like healing introduced to the game where you can actually like have a person that have a dedicated role of supporting the team. Like, it reminds me more of Apex, going back onto that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like picking people up, having a chance to revive them again, shooting them with something that heals
and if
them.
we look at things that Fortnite has added before its end, like the ability to res dead players and ping items, things taken from Apex very clearly.
Exactly. So it's not surprising.
So it's not a surprise that they're taking more things from Apex, and it's not a bad thing by any means.
No,
they're taking good mechanics, which they should just have.
Right. There's going to be explosive barrels. There's going to be haystacks you can hide in. Hopefully, there's more than just like haystacks that you hide in. But basically, a more sneaky aspect that you can do with the game.
They also said how you what's the word I'm looking for? Progress is changed.
Yes. So combat is a little bit tweaked. There's a more streamlined selection of weapons that you can upgrade. There's less grind, apparently, and a new experience system for the Battle Pass.
Which is good, because there's one thing I noticed about Fortnite's Battle Pass, is that it was 100 levels, but it was so grindy.
Super grindy.
You just had to keep playing games over and over and over and over.
100 levels is like, oh, cool, there's a lot of stuff, but it was like 20 games, you might not get a level at a certain point. Like, even if you won every one of them, like, it doesn't matter.
If you won every one of them, you'd probably get the first 15 levels fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But after that, it's like, okay, you'd need to win like 5 games in a row to get a level. it just got to a point where it just wasn't worth it.
Right. So they're changing up Fortnite. They're making it a little less stagnant, which is good. You know, I probably won't play it. Maybe I'll give it a little check out just to see how the new
I'll probably mess around with this season just to see what's different.
Yeah, but it won't. I don't think it's anything that's going to keep me. But it's having a whole new map and having like all this like different interactions. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's smart on Epic Games.
Clever. It's
released now, so if you want to play it, go check it out.
I was gonna download it this evening, so I was and have a go at it just to see.
Let me know. How you like it.
I'll let you know.
See if there's any big differences. Going on from Fortnite and going on to something that's probably gonna fail.
We're just being honest here. It's gonna fail. God, that controller is so ugly.
That's like if you took the Xbox controller and mixed it with the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, and then just like combined it and
added £20 to it.
Yeah, then you would have the Google Stadia's controller, which Google Stadia, the cloud gaming service that we all know and love, is official launch is November 19th. Now, this official launch is only going to be for the Founders Edition people who spent $130
on essentially a controller.
Yes, literally a controller and I think like a Chromecast thing.
Yeah, when they got that with it, that was supposed to be like, oh, you get this, you get like.
But that's what I'm saying.
You get X, Y, and Z as well as this Chromecast.
And it's like,
why?
But I need that in most cases to play it unless I have something that has like the Chrome or streaming service on it. So you need it anyways.
Like, unless I have a smart TV
then I need that
has that capability.
Or a phone.
I need it anyways.
So it's going to be out November 19th, sorry. It's going to be out November 19th for the Founders Editions, and we're going to have a chance to see how well it actually runs.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think it's not going to be...
I don't think it's going to be bad, but I don't think it's going to be good.
I don't think it's going to be worth
€130.
and then 100 and then 60 games for $60 for every game you want to play.
As well as your subscription fee.
And who even knows what games are going to be out at the very launch?
Yeah.
They still haven't said. Now, this is, I think... And
like we know like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and we know Witcher 3 is going to be on it, but they're literally the only two that I could name off the top of my head. And I'm not going to play Witcher 3 on it because I have it on other consoles and don't talk to me about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've talked about it before in the past.
So looking at it, you'd say, okay, this is a pretty short topic, right? Oh, we're just talking about how it's going to be out November 19th. They finally gave us a release date. Who's going to be able to play it? But I think the thing that I kind of wanted to just focus on too with it is they talked about its release date. They said who's going to be able to play it and that it will support the Pixel 4 at launch, right? But then that's all you got about Google Stadia, and then they moved on to the next topics.
It's like it's out in... We're recording this on the 16th, so it's out in 3 days. It comes out Saturday.
Out in a month and 3 days because it's October.
3 days. Oh, it is October. I'm a month behind. Oh my god. It's almost as bad as you thinking today was Tuesday.
Shut up. It's too late. Don't try to put it back on me. So
turn it back on you.
So it's literally the only thing that they had to say about something that's supposed to be revolutionary and sets the whole new market up, right? Is...
Oh, you can use a new phone on it.
You can use your Pixel 4 on launch. Cool. And then it's released on the 19th. We'll finally tell you when you're going to be able to use it, which is the 19th, and that's it.
Any more details? Can I get a game list here?
Now, it says that... Now, this was at the company's Pixel 4 launch event, right?
Yeah.
So fair enough. You didn't have a lot to say except for that. But that's literally all they said about it. Nothing else except for its launch date. And that it could be used on a Pixel 4. You'd think... with people asking questions, you'd at least have a little bit more to say.
You'd give them a bit more information.
Have you heard anything else even about Stadia at this point? I forgot about it.
I've heard nothing about it since the last time we talked about it on the podcast.
So...
That was weeks and weeks ago.
It's pretty pathetic that there's something that's supposed to be revolutionary in how everything's, according to them, where the world of gaming is going.
Oh, yeah.
That we haven't heard anything else more on it, and we haven't even had, like, good betas of it, and we haven't had anything going on to actually show us how it's going to be. So, everyone keep your eyes peeled, set your date for November 19th, and we're going to see how well this actually runs, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of issues.
Yeah, I'm going to expect a lot of launch issues. Maybe some of it just not working completely. That'd be fun. If it just didn't work at all. You got it and just nothing happened.
I would say that'd be pathetic. I'd say we're gonna have a big like issue with it, and it's gonna have stutters or bugs or something, and then you're gonna have them say this is not how it's going to be when it's launched to everybody. We promise. And
I say it won't be fully operational till January or February next year.
Yeah, whenever they plan on actually
like in the new term, I think is the next. That's when it'll be solid.
See. Only thing to do is to wait and see now.
It's to wait and see.
Play by ear and eyes.
But to move on to our final topic, and as tradition with the podcast, it's movie-based.
Movie-based!
Woo, movie time. So, Matt Reeves' Batman is back in the headlines because we officially have our Catwoman.
Ooh.
Yeah. She's been played by Zoe Kravitz. Now, she's been in things. She played Lita Lestrange in Crimes of Grindelwald. She was in, I think it was Big Little Lies.
Yep.
She's been in a good few things. She's a pretty good actress.
Yeah, she's not bad.
She's very good.
Not bad. She's pretty. She's got decent acting chops on her. She has a couple decent roles that she's had.
She has experience in like big titled movies.
Yeah.
So it's like overall, I'm pretty happy with this.
I don't think it's bad.
I don't think it's that bad. But this overall cast is making me really interested in this movie.
I mean, you have Robert Pattinson, right?
As Batman. You have
Zoe Kravitz as
Catwoman. You've Jeffrey Wright from Westworld as Commissioner Gordon, and supposedly Jonah Hill as the Riddler.
Yeah, it's
like that's such a different cast than what we're used to when it comes to Batman.
It's something where it's like, instead of just going for all the biggest names and just going for it, it's definitely like names that you know,
but not names you'd expect.
Yes. And I think that it's pretty smart. Now, I know some people out there might be thinking like I'm thinking, why are we rebooting the Batman series again? Can we please just stick with somebody and just roll with it?
Because Justice League didn't do well and Ben Affleck has gambling issues. That's why.
More than that. He has a lot more issues with that when it comes to acting over the last few years.
Oh yeah, he has a lot of issues.
But but yes, this is hopefully the last reboot that we'll see in a while. I mean, all of these people are young enough and able to be able to do parts that they could do it for a decent amount of time. It's not starting with the Joker, which is good, because God, I hate how every single reboot is the Joker.
Yeah, supposedly it's going to follow a younger caped crusader in a grounded detective style movie.
Okay.
So it's going to be a very different Batman movie we've experienced as a whole.
It's going to be more like probably when Batman kind of first came into being and was...
And it's going to have actual detective work, not just him running around beating up bad guys.
Well, and that's what Batman was always supposed to be, was more of a detective.
The world's greatest detective.
Yeah.
You know, so
it looks interesting.
It looks very interesting.
Having a good slew of actors that it is pretty... It's exciting to see. I mean, we still have 2 years, right? Until we'll even see it.
2021, yeah.
So June 25th of 2021. So there's still a lot more that needs to be worked on it.
Yeah.
Like the whole movie. But being able to get some cast done is awesome. Real quick though, speaking on Batman, we are thinking of doing a solo thing for the Joker. We're just waiting till we got some time to get it right and like get it together. We both have seen the movie.
This Friday it'll be out for 2 weeks, so I think we've reached a good time to
start. Spoiler
the hell out of it. It's like 2 week period's over.
So right now for the podcast, I think we should just give a real quick kind of spoiler free take on a movie for the people that maybe don't want to listen to the whole spoiler section.
Yeah.
Real quick, the movie I thought was really good. I wouldn't say it was the best movie I've ever seen, but I thought that it was definitely a great movie. It was definitely something that I think Joker beat my expectations, but in the best ways, because it wasn't a comic book movie. It wasn't a superhero, supervillain, whatever movie to me. It was a movie that was set inside of a world that was obviously far-fetched, but realistic with some of the approaches of how a human interaction is.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with you. I went into it because I have been hanging over this movie since it was announced. And I knew that Todd Phillips' big inspiration for it was Taxi Driver. Mm-hmm. He said he watched Taxi Driver multiple times while prepping for it. And I really felt that in it. And that is a compliment and a half, because Taxi Driver is one of my favourite movies. And it really feels like it a whole new take. It changed my perspective on the character. It was fresh. It was new. It was exciting.
The Joker, if you're gonna go see this, don't go expecting to see the same Joker. Even you want to try and compare him to any Joker, don't compare him to. You can't compare him to Heath Ledger. You can't compare him to.
He's his own thing.
Jack Nicholson. He's literally his own thing. And Joaquin said himself that he watched no prior thing beforehand to study it.
He did no zero comic prep. He did zero movie prep.
The only thing that he did was he read up on killers.
Yeah.
Actual killers and their thought processes and how their brains work. There's a lot of controversy that we'll go into more when we do a solo thing about Joker.
There's a lot to talk about when it comes to that.
But I will say I understand people's being upset, but I think the reason that they're upset is because they're looking at this as if Gotham is a real world city, in that the things that happen in it are people how they would actually act in real life, where Gotham's not. And the way that things are portrayed are meant to show that was the only thing I would say was comic bookish about it, is how people reacted to certain things. So the crowds that come.
It's more so a what if.
Yes.
It's okay, we're going to have this world very grounded in reality, but then what if you had this twist? That if this could happen, what would go from there? If
people responded in that way. So the people that, we kind of brought this up before, but to the people that had thought it was, exemplifying killers or gun violence, I wouldn't say that's it at all. Because I think that you're looking at it from the view, like I said, that this was a person, people were oh, it's making mental health look bad because people, saying the people with mental health issues will shoot people, when that's not the case. We all know it's for different reasons, but that's not what it was trying to do. What it was trying to show was one man's take of how it was going on, and everything, like I said, was almost in a way, cartoony, comic booky, exemplified in a way that, without spoiling anything, there's riots going on for a reason, and those riots going on for a reason are not we're not going on in the exact way that it would actually happen in a real world.
Not really in a literal sense. It's more of those riots, quote unquote, would happen, but not in a literal riot form, in a more metaphorical sense.
I would say
social media movements and protests.
Yes, I would say that those
rioting.
Those riots were almost in a way showing a sort of psychological way of how that would all play out, of people's thought process, sympathizing with people that don't actually know the full situations because they're mad about something.
Yeah.
I don't think, but see, because it's Gotham, and everything in Gotham when it happens, people are
it's mob mentality turned to 10.
Is how Gotham has always worked in any sense. Is the people are nuts. Even if you can look at it, because they talk about trash at the beginning and how people are reacting to it, and the way that they're talking up certain points. Just watch the movie and you see it with, like I said, spoiler free, but they're talking about it. They're saying there's a trash problem and there's this going on, and people are going through and saying, oh, and having these opinions and saying how it's leading to the downfall of Gotham because of it, and how there's all these issues happening because of it. This is showing a sort of as if the whole world was combined into one city, because that's what Gotham is.
Yeah.
It's the whole world in one city is what it's supposed to be. It's it's not, everyone has a false sense, and they think that Gotham is supposed to be New York. That's just where most of the inspiration comes for the city design itself.
And that primarily comes from Christopher Nolan as well,
because
he very much pushed for, I think it was New York in the first one, and then he changed to Chicago.
But what actually is going on is Gotham is meant to represent the world as a whole in one big city.
A place where people from all over the world come to this one location. It's a melting pot. Because
that's where all the stories take place. That's where Batman is where he's from, that's what he does stuff in. It's about that.
It's the crossroad.
So I think if you go in and you realize that this isn't about how mental health is or what people are like, and this is what they do and what gun violence is like. If you go into it and you think this is showing one take of how it would be in a world where everything is exempt, talk shows and news broadcasts and everything are at a 10, like you said.
Yeah.
It's all real world scenarios and all realistic things.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But everything's pushed to 10.
Everything's grounded in reality, but then it's exaggerated to kind of make you go, well, we have all these issues and all these things in the real world. Not as severe, but they're there. And it's supposed to kind of make you go, well, what if it was this severe?
Yes, but I don't think it's even saying that's what it would be.
Oh no,
I think it's saying
it's more about like, what if it's like
this is always this is
it's a possibility. It's not always going to be this
or was
way.
a possibility.
Yeah.
And at a level 10, because this is a universe that doesn't exist, and we want to see. The whole movie was meant to be a thought, like a think thing.
It's a big character-based social commentary on reality.
Yes.
Based in a world that's exaggerating reality.
Exactly. Like, you're not going to have someone get pushed on a train anywhere and then all of a sudden everyone start fighting or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how it would work in actual reality.
Yeah.
But in terms of, like, someone's thought process and how they would gang up verbally or
in reality
on a social platform.
Like, in reality, that wouldn't happen. If that happened on a train, just nothing would happen. But if you were to ask someone outside of that, oh, if this happened on a train, what would you do? They'd go, oh, well, I'd probably grab them.
Yes. It's
in their head, they'd be the person that would step in. But in reality, they wouldn't, because people don't do that. People don't act that impulsively or extremely.
Yes. It was a way of showing impulses in an extreme way. Basically, this movie is an extreme take on something that you can look at and be like, I understand it. I see the real world scenarios, but it's not the real world.
Yeah.
And I think if you think that that's the real world, then you're looking at it with very, very pessimistic viewpoint, and you're kind of the issue. Because you're looking at it as if that's how it's going to be, instead of looking at it as that's what it could be if we don't change how things are, and everything was at a 10.
Yeah. That's how I exactly seen it. It was like a what-if situation that it's a social commentary that was kind of supposed to make you look at yourself. Instead of looking at the people going, okay, why do mass shootings happen? Why does violence happen? Is it mental illness? Is it this? Is it that?
It's not anything
You're
about
supposed
that.
to go, okay, well, what causes that?
Yes, it's nothing about, like, it's not even, I don't even think that those themes are even that they have some merit within it, but it's not
They wouldn't be the most
prevalent
prevalent part.
They weren't going for that. They were going for one man.
But it was definitely intended, though.
One man with a horrible, horrible mental state, and what happens when he's put in that horrible mental state into this situation, and everything's going wrong for him, and no one cares that everything's going wrong for him.
Yeah.
That's how it's looking at.
What extremes would that person go to?
And it's not saying that's what people would do. It's saying what that man would do.
Yeah.
That man. That guy.
That's
not the world.
That's what makes the Joker special. That's why there only ever is.
It's because
the Joker, there isn't 50 million people at his side at all times. It's always just him. Because he's the only one who actually thinks that way. Everyone else just kind of looks at him and goes, yeah, okay. Without really getting the full picture.
Exactly. And I think that's the takeaway is from the whole movie. If you guys want to hear more about that, we're gonna do a solo one. We just gotta wait for the right time and when we think everyone's. We definitely want it to be where things pass, so that way if people listen to it, they're not getting anything spoiled. And then we also have time to get in everyone's social commentary and see where they're kind of sitting at with it.
Do our own little in readings, see what other people are saying, kind of get as much info as we can.
But on that, I think that's the end of this Geek Cause podcast, episode Sweet 16.
Oh, yes.
The sweetest of 16s.
It's great.
Thank you guys so much for listening to us. Please, as always, give us any sort of feedback, any questions, and any love and attention, because Kyle is withering away from no love and attention.
I am. I'm slowly withering away. I'm going to disappear into dust.
So, we love you.
You're the best.
We appreciate you, and we will talk to you next time on the Geek Cause Pod. Bye-bye.
Bye.